Are expansions killing the board game hobby? That's what we're going to explore in this board game vlog. And I almost can't believe I'm saying that they're killing the hobby. And I say that because if you've been following my channel here, I love board games. It's a dangerous place to be, being a completionist and someone with poor impulse control. When I find a title that I like, who doesn't want more content? I want core. I want adventure pack. I want expansion 1, expansion 2. I want the custom dice. I want the custom tokens. I want season 1, season 2, season 3. I want the 3D printed fan content. Like, I want to go all into that gaming world. But more and more what I see with a lot of the titles that I enjoy, and these are solid games that I enjoy playing, they are just so massive to set up, massive to break down, massive to play through, so much content, it doesn't always sync together. Then you get into an interesting place where you're like, well, do I play some of it? Do I play all of it? Yeah, we're going to play all of it. We're going to use all of it. And it's just this massive kind of experience. I find some board games take longer to set up and play than some of the more bloated war games like Warhammer 40K that I enjoy. And I thought the idea behind a board game experience, as opposed to, say, an RPG or a war game is, and I know the lines are a little bit blurry, but I always approached board gaming as, this is a boxed experience. This is, whether it's a war game, combat type game. Last week we played Conquest of the Empire. Love it. Is it a war game? Is it a board game? It's a little of both, but I'd say it's a focused board game in that it takes this scenario and allows you to play that out, or even Axis and Allies. Is it a board game or a war game? A little of both, but primarily I would say a board game. It's a contained experience. You get to play it, you get to experience it, you get to move from there, as opposed to a war game, which is a lot more open-ended in different units and different armies and different lists. But pulling board games from my collection to get in that gaming moment or enjoy that experience, it's getting to the point where it's like, well, I might as well play a war game or just crack open, break out a role-playing game. And there's a lot of bloat in some RPGs. So I have to look and I have to wonder and say, I understand expansions are released as a money grab, and they don't always integrate fully. And I understand the point, like, I love certain games. I want those titles. I want those expansions. But I find myself now looking at games that I want to purchase or the rotations in my collection, and I'm looking something that plays, here's the box. It's a great experience. It's got some different choices. It's got some replayability, and like maybe like 1 or 2 minor expansions. Add some more characters, add some more cards, maybe an extra scenario. But moving out from that, I love Dark Souls, but like transporting Dark Souls is just like I need a massive cart to do it. So it's interesting to see. Or Zombicide Black Plague. I love playing Black Plague. It's probably one of the most played games that I play at the club and with my friends. We do go all in with the zombie dogs. We've got the blood ravens flying around. We've got the skeleton archers. We've got the NPCs that we're playing. I mean, like literally all in, all characters. Like it's a lot. It plays a lot. The different abominations in play are expansions out of control. And of course, you know, Kickstarter is always involved. Kickstarter, the way that's fueling into expansions, it's almost like there's no longer, I mean, this is a vlog, secondary vlog, but we'll just put this out there for consideration because it is very much related to this idea of expansions. The traditional board gaming channel of how it's released, that's just been obliterated. I mean, I would say the only recent game that I would say follows a traditional release, but they've got massive funding, massive muscle behind it, the re-release of Hero Quest. The fact that there is a core and that there are expansions coming out and it's supported over time, which I think is a fantastic thing, to get that back out in the wild. I love Hero Quest. But that's that traditional model. I don't think anybody does that anymore. Now I think it's put up the Kickstarter. I get all that money up front, risk-free, free loan, no interest. And then I release everything at once. maybe there's a retail. And if there is retail, it's kind of an afterthought, and it's just crippleware, because you're not even missing out on Kickstarter exclusives, but more and more certain base packs are only being offered through Kickstarter. So it's like the direct-to-video response, like from the 90s, direct-to-video, direct to Kickstarter. There's incentive to put out more of a bloat, more of a board game. This idea like we're just going to design everything, print everything, sell everything, then move on. So I find the games more and more just really expansions getting crazy. And again, it's like really hard for me to say this because I love expansions. I love certain titles. I cannot get enough of them. But there should be, or is there a balance between, yes, putting out a solid title, none of this, oh, here's the core box. Really, it's just complete total crippleware. You need all the other stuff to play it. But putting out a solid core and a couple of expansions to pull you in, is that model over? Now it's just, here's the tidal wave of stuff. And of course, if you don't get it now, you're not going to be able to get it at any time in the future.